Hello everyone, welcome back to Twilight Tales, where the shadows talk and silence holds secrets. If you're ready to descend into darkness, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this tale with anyone brave enough to listen until the end. Let's dim the lights and begin. The wind howled outside like something alive. Cold rain slapped against the windows of the Weatherby estate, an old Gothic manor that stood crumbling on the edge of the Hampshire woods. Within its walls, time had slowed, and the air hung heavy with forgotten memories and unspoken horrors. It was the kind of house that creaked when no one moved and whispered when no one spoke. Eleanor Ward had inherited the house after her great-aunt Lucinda passed away under strange circumstances. A solitary woman with no children or spouse, Lucinda had lived alone for over 4 decades, speaking to no one, keeping the curtains drawn, and never, not once, opening the door to the 3rd-floor bedroom. The locked room. Even at the funeral, the topic had risen in hushed voices, neighbors exchanging stories. She always talked to that door. I heard crying from there one night, years ago. That room's cursed, I swear to it. Eleanor wasn't one for ghost stories. She was a teacher, logical and grounded, and had returned to the estate only to settle the will and prepare it for sale. A few boxes, a few signatures, that's all she expected. She arrived on a fog-choked Thursday morning, the sky bruised and gray, the gravel crunching beneath her boots. The key turned reluctantly in the massive front door, and a rush of cold air greeted her like a sigh from the house itself. The scent of mildew and old wood filled her nostrils. Inside, everything remained as Lucinda had left it. China in the cabinets, books lining the shelves, a fire burned out long ago, still leaving behind a whisper of smoke. The house seemed to breathe. Eleanor set her bags down in the front parlor and started exploring. Each room was stranger than the last. Velvet wallpaper curling at the corners, portraits with eyes that followed her, furniture covered in dusty white sheets like forgotten bodies in repose. Then she reached the 3rd floor. The staircase groaned under her weight, and the temperature seemed to drop with each step. At the end of the hallway, there it was, the locked room. The wood was darker than the rest of the doors, the brass handle stained with age, and carved into the frame were symbols she didn't recognize, runes or maybe just elaborate scratches. A heavy rusted padlock sealed it shut. Lucinda's will had been clear. Do not open the room. Do not touch the door. Do not let it out. Let what out? Eleanor wasn't sure why, but her stomach turned as she stood before it. Her skin crawled, goosebumps rising along her arms. Logic told her it was just an old door, but instinct screamed otherwise. That night she barely slept. The house creaked like it was settling, or pacing. At precisely 3:12 a.m., she awoke with a start, not from a noise but from the absence of one. A deafening silence, as though the entire house was holding its breath. Then came the knock. Tap, tap, tap. 3 slow knocks, deliberate and heavy. Not from the front door, not from downstairs, from the locked room. She sat up in bed, heart slamming against her chest. Sweat clung to her forehead, and her throat felt dry and tight. She waited. Maybe it had been a dream. Maybe the wind. Tap. 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 No dream. She climbed out of bed, barefoot and trembling, and made her way up the stairs in the dark. The hallway stretched longer than before, the shadows deeper. She paused in front of the locked room. Nothing. No sound. The padlock remained in place. Then from inside, a voice. Low, feminine, sobbing. Please, help me. She stepped back, nearly losing her balance. Her breath came in gasps. Someone was in there, trapped, but how? The room had been locked for decades. Please, please open the door, I'm so cold. The voice was fragile, desperate. It sounded like Lucinda, or maybe a child. Eleanor's hand reached for the padlock before she could think. Cold metal met her fingers and she stopped. Something didn't feel right. The voice was wrong, hollow, like it came not from a throat but from deep inside a well, mimicking speech but not understanding it. It was too calm, too practiced. She ran back to her room and slammed the door. The next morning the padlock was open, just hanging there, swinging gently. Eleanor called the locksmith immediately. Cut it off, melt it down, replace it. I don't care. I just want it sealed again. But when the locksmith arrived, he frowned. This isn't even real iron. Looks like something older. Where'd you find this? I didn't, she replied. It's always been on the door. He tried replacing it with a modern lock, but the moment he left, the new one fell to the floor, snapped in half, as though something inside the room had broken it from within. That night, Eleanor dreamed of a woman in black. She stood at the foot of her bed, face hidden behind a veil, whispering, "You're her blood. You're the key." When Eleanor woke, there were bruises on her arms, thin, finger-shaped ones. She researched Lucinda's history, digging through old journals and estate records. What she found made her blood run cold. Lucinda had a sister, Abigail, who had vanished when they were both children. The police had investigated, but no body was ever found. In Lucinda's later writings, her words turned erratic, unhinged. She wrote of Abigail's return, of locking her away, not to punish, but to protect. Her eyes are wrong now. Her smile stretches too wide. She wears our face, but it's not her anymore. Eleanor returned to the room. The door was slightly ajar. She hadn't opened it. She hadn't even touched it. She stood frozen, heart pounding in her ears. Something inside beckoned her, like a string tied to her ribs, tugging gently but insistently. She pushed the door. It swung open with a moan, revealing a dark, musty bedroom frozen in time. A child's toys scattered on the floor. A rocking horse. A music box that began to play on its own. She stepped inside, and the door slammed shut behind her, pitch black. The air was thick, suffocating. The shadows moved. Then, two glowing eyes opened in the corner. "You came," a voice hissed. "I've waited so long." The thing that emerged looked like a girl, at first. But its limbs were too long, its smile too wide, its eyes, pitch black pits, no whites, no soul. It moved like a puppet with broken strings. "You unlocked me," it whispered. Eleanor screamed and turned, slamming her fists against the door. but it wouldn't budge. "You're her blood," the thing said. "That's the rule. Blood opens the door. Blood stays behind." It lunged. Everything went black. When Eleanor opened her eyes, she was in a rocking chair. The room was bright now, clean, the toys in place. A mirror on the wall showed her reflection, but it wasn't hers. It was Lucinda's. No, Abigail's. She tried to move, to speak, but couldn't. She was frozen, trapped. Then she saw herself, her body, walking out the door, calm, smiling. "Thank you, cousin," the thing said in her voice. "I'll take good care of your life." The door slammed shut, and the padlock clicked into place from the outside. Eleanor, the real Eleanor, screamed inside her mind. But no sound came, only the ticking of a clock and the faint sound of the music box playing again. The house was sold 6 months later. The new owners never stayed long. Every night at 3:12 a.m., the new locked room knocks 3 times, and a voice from inside says, "Please, help me." Sweet dreams. And remember, some doors are locked for a reason. If this tale chilled your spine, hit that like button, subscribe to Twilight Tales, and share it with someone who thinks they're not afraid of the dark. Until next time, keep your eyes open and your doors shut.